Hi, welcome to Pomegranate Place. My name is Joanda, and I'm going to give you an overview of the Bible. I'm also going to follow this video up with an overview of the New Testament and Old Testament, but I kind of wanted to briefly go through just an overview of the Bible in general, all the things you probably already knew, and maybe a few things that you didn't. So the reason why I decided to do this is because I feel like so often people want to get closer to God. They want to read their Bibles more, but they open their Bibles and they feel like they have no clue what's going on. So I just wanted to break it down for you. So no matter where you open your Bibles, hopefully you'll have an idea of the point of reference or the context that you're reading in. So the first thing is the Bible is actually a library and not a book. It's a collection of books. Uh, for the Protestant Bible, there are 66 books, and for the Catholic Bible, there are 73 books. I believe the Old Testament books vary, but the New Testament books are the same for both Bibles. There are two parts, the Old Testament and the New Testament. And the Old Testament was originally written in Hebrew, and the New Testament was originally written in Greek and I believe Aramaic. There are several different types of literature in the books of the Bible. Some of them are narrative or historical, some of them outline laws and regulations, some of them are poetic, some of them focus on wisdom, and many of them are prophetic, where they talk about things that are to come. And then there are also accounts or stories and or I think of the Gospels when I say accounts, and also letters from apostles to different churches or different leaders. So those are the different types of literature you will encounter. So I got this picture from the overviewbible.com. It's a great resource, but it does a really great job of breaking out the Bible and all of the different groups. So first you'll see over here, you have the books of the law, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and then you have historical books here, and then you have poetry books here, and then all of these are prophetic books. You can see there's a lot of them. So moving over to the New Testament, we have the Gospels, we have Acts, which is more of a historical book, and then we have the letters of the apostles, and you can see again there's a lot of them, and um, and also Revelation, which I believe is a letter, but it's a little different. It speaks about the end of the world. So a lot of people wonder who wrote the Bible, and a lot of people say people wrote the Bible. Well, actually, that's true. People did write the Bible. Men did write the Bible. Uh, uh, they were prophets, historians, poets, songwriters, kings. The Bible is considered to be a product of divine inspiration, with the authors of the various books guided by God to convey his message to humanity. So, yes, the Bible was written by people. When was it written? It was written over thousands of years, and I am not an apologist. An apologist is someone who argues for their faith. Really, I'm just here to present the story of the Bible and just some facts about the Bible, but not necessarily to give like cold, hard facts and details. I'm sure there's lots of places online you can find for that. So, important ideas and themes in the Bible, there's a few of them. One is covenants. Covenants are just binding agreements that God makes with people, and also that people make with God, and also that people make with other people. Israel is another idea or theme, or Israel is the group of people that God chose to have the Messiah, who is Jesus, come through. Idolatry is the next one, and idolatry is the worship of other gods. It's essentially spiritual adultery. It's like you're married to someone, but you have a relationship with someone other than your spouse, but in a spiritual sense. Syncretism. So, syncretism is mixing the practices of more than one religion. Um, and this is important because when people are in idolatry, they're also often in their synchronizing beliefs, which is not a good thing. Sin is a really big theme. It's a violation of God's moral standards. And I just want to point out that the Bible talks about sin, transgression, and iniquity, and they are not the same things. We can talk about what's different about them later, but they are not the same things. So when you see those words, you should think of different things. Well, you should realize that they're not the same things. Next is blessings and curses. And blessings and curses are the result of obedience or disobedience to God. So there are a few major focuses of the Old Testament and the New Testament. For the Old Testament, you'll find that it starts with creation, and then it talks about the chosen family of God. Then it talks about the birth of a nation. Then it's when the people of Israel go into the promised land. And then it's when the split when the kingdom splits, the kingdom of Israel splits, and the people go into exile. So those are the four, if you will, like movements of the Old Testament. No matter when and where you're reading, you're somewhere in between these four different time periods or eras, if you will. For the New Testament, it's a little different. It starts with the Gospels, which you can find in you will find tells the story of Jesus, his birth and his death. There are four Gospels, and they're Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and they all tell the same story or very similar stories that focus on Jesus's life and ministry. Next is the resurrection, the birth of and the birth of the church, and then the letters of the apostles, and then the revelation.